Good afternoon, everyone. It's now noon, so I will call this meeting to order. And Mr. Coley, if you will note that all commissioners are present. First thing on our agenda is approval of our minutes from the meeting of November 19th that were mailed to each of the commissioners. I'll need a motion in a second.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, and minutes are approved. I will just remind everybody one more time, and microphones, all you have to do is push for it to be on, and you don't have to hold it, they will stay on, and then once you're finished speaking, just push again for them to go off, and we'll proceed. Our first official action today is Resolution 1427, a resolution requesting the City Council of the City of Knoxville to pass a resolution setting the tax equivalent payments for the electric and gas systems for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020, and providing for the allocation and distribution of such payments to the affected taxing jurisdiction. Gabe?
Yes, Commissioners, Chris Hood, Controller, will review this year's fiscal year 21 tax equivalent payments for you all to consider.
To approve the payment in lieu of taxes for fiscal year 21 for the gas and electric divisions. Each year, KUB makes payments in lieu of taxes or pilot payments to each of the taxing jurisdictions in which KUB has utility facilities located. This year, those payments represent $32.5 million. That's a $1.5 million increase or 5% rise since fiscal year 20. You might note that the major source of increase in these payments is the Century 2 infrastructure that we're adding each year, along with additional operating margins in our electric and gas divisions. One bright note, even though we're paying $32.5 million this year, that's actually about $700,000 less than we had budgeted. That mainly determines savings that will be redistributed back to our electric system. Before we get into the payments themselves, let's do just a quick review of the governance behind the pilots. The electric and gas divisions fall directly under state law. State law provides guidance in how the payments are actually calculated. They're calculated based off our net asset values in those systems, as well as average operating margins in the electric and gas divisions. The state law also calls out the fact that the payments must be approved by the governing body of each utility. In KUB's instance, that reverts back to City Council. Once City Council sets those for distribution, they can be paid before the last business day of June each year. Conversely, in our water and wastewater division, state law is silent to calculation of pilot payments. Thus, we utilize the city charter to make payments to the City of Knoxville based upon our net plant values. Those are paid each year before the last day of February. Now, taking a look at the payments by division, you'll see from the chart here, electric as our largest division pays the largest amount of tax equivalents. Electric payments are up over $800,000 this year. Keep in mind, electric pays based upon net plant values and operating margins. So both it and gas are up more than water and wastewater because of that factor. Gas division is up about $338,000 this year. And then water and wastewater are up less, water being up about $150, wastewater being up about $250 this year. In total, once again, increase of $1.5 million in tax equivalent payments. Next up, as we slice this a different way and look at our payments by taxing jurisdictions, as you might assume, City of Knoxville receives the lion's share of KUB's tax equivalent payments. This year, that amount is over $21 million. That's roughly a 5% increase for the City of Knoxville. Knox County receives about half that much, $10.5 million. They're up a little bit more than 5.5%. And then the remaining taxing jurisdictions split about $1 million in total. One anomaly you might notice on the chart, Sevier County is actually down this year. It's not because we did not add assets there. We actually added about $2.5 million of assets in Sevier County. They actually reduced their equalization rate, which is a factor in the calculation of the payment. So thus they'll receive slightly fewer dollars this year. And then finally, this brings us to the resolution that's before you today. Resolution 1427 is a request to City Council to set for distribution the payment in lieu of taxes for the electric and gas divisions in a total amount of $24,057,808. Once City Council passes a resolution on this, it will fulfill the state statutory requirement for distribution of these funds. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Hey, Chris, you said that we budgeted, it was 700,000 over?
Yes.
And you said that $700,000 will go back into the electric system?
I guess rather than going back in the electric system, it's just the fact that we won't have to expend that many more dollars.
Okay.
It's about 600,000 of it goes to electric system budget, and the rest of it was in the other three.
Other three,
So
okay.
we just slightly overcalculated the asset values that would have been added last year.
Okay. I think you answered my real question, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we need a motion and a second for Resolution 1427 on first and final reading.
So moved.
We have a second? Did we get a second? Oh, sorry. Are there any members of the public who'd like to address the board on this resolution? Seeing none, Mr. Cully, would you do a roll call vote?
Yes, Commissioner Askew. Aye. Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Herbert.
Aye.
Commissioner Pennell. Aye. Commissioner Simpson-Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Small.
Aye.
Commissioner Worden. Aye. Resolution 1427 has passed.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is Resolution 1428, a resolution amending Section 3 of Resolution Number 1060 by replacing the existing Rate Schedule E, sales for resale of the Water Division. Gabe?
Yes, thank you. Commissioners, KUB sells water to certain neighboring utilities, and we do that under a sales for resale rate schedule. Mark talked about this last month, but we want to give you an update on that, and we're proposing some adjustments to that rate structure. So Mark Walker, Senior Vice President and CFO, will provide the details of this proposed change.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Today we do present for your consideration an adjustment in our wholesale water rate, really to make the rate more competitive with other sources of supply for our wholesale customers, and also to help, the objective primarily being to preserve water system revenue for all customers, which we think is in the best interest of all of our water customers. We did discuss this with the board's Audit and Finance Committee at their October meeting, and they basically gave us the green light to come forth and provide a recommendation to the full board. So just to begin, a little bit of background on the wholesale rate itself. The board has approved various rate schedules for the water division. One of those is what we call a wholesale rate. It's actually termed a sale for resale rate. And it is a service that can be available to water utilities that border KUB's water distribution system. And it's really, we're providing a service and for them to be able to meet the needs of their customers. They buy from us and resell to their customers. The service is provided on an interruptible basis, and that's because the highest priority of service is the customers within our water system territory, and off-system sales would have a less priority. There potentially could be system conditions that would cause us to have to interrupt the service to ensure availability of water supply to customers located on our own distribution system. And also in line with that, because it is an interruptible service, under the schedule, KUB cannot be the sole supplier of service. They need to have at least one other source of water supply as well. We have currently two wholesale customers, both located in Jefferson County, that we have had long-term arrangements with to sell water on a wholesale basis. That is the town of Dandridge, who has been receiving service from us since 2015, and Shady Grove Utility District, which has been receiving service from us for quite a while. At least goes back to the early 2000s, maybe even precedes that. We've had a number of contracts with them over the years. Both of those utilities are relatively small, again, located in Jefferson County, Tennessee, and they do not have their own, I guess, water production facilities. They buy from other sources to sell to their customers. And also wanted to mention that the current rate, which we'll come back to here in just a few moments, is $1.70 per 100 cubic feet. That's what we currently charge. In terms of gallons, if you look at a rate in terms of thousands of gallons, that's equivalent to $2.27. So looking at what our sales arrangements are with both Dandridge and Shady Grove, they both have 10-year contracts with automatic one-year rollover provisions. And I believe the Dandridge contract was executed in 2015 and Shady Grove, the current contract, in 2014. Of note is that those contracts also provide for maximum purchase levels and minimum purchase levels, and really focusing on the minimum here, that the minimum takes. They are required to purchase at least 100,000 gallons of water a day from us. The maximum level is about 1.2 million gallons per day. If you look back over especially recent years, it's been much greater than the minimum level. In fact, over the last 12 months combined, it averaged 1.6 million gallons per day, which equates to about 1.3 million in annual water sales revenue, which is about a little over 2% of our total water sales revenue. So it has some significance to it. So the current situation, really why we're here to talk today, as I mentioned, a requirement under the rate schedule, you do have to have another provider. For both Dandridge and Shady Grove, that is Jefferson City. The current rate charged by Jefferson City is about 13% lower than the rate that KUB charges. And what has happened over time, probably 10 years ago that rate was very similar, but as we have done Century 2 rate increases for the water system, those have also been applied to the water wholesale rate, so that differential has grown over time till it's reached the current level. And so Dandridge a couple of months ago notified us that they would be scaling back to their minimum purchase levels, which is 100,000 gallons a day. They currently have purchased about 640,000 gallons a day. So quite a big decrease in that. And they cited the rate differential, that the differential had just gotten to a point that the operating cost savings they could not pass that up. So they did give notice, and they have cut back to the minimum level of purchases. So for KUB, what that means is a $450,000 loss in annual water system revenue, which is significant, particularly for the water system. Now that's just Dandridge. Shady Grove, who has not indicated currently any desire to pull back and reduce to minimum levels, but in the event they did, now both these utilities are in close proximity to each other in Jefferson County, and the general managers know each other very well, so it wasn't too far to think that maybe someday Shady Grove would follow suit. If they did that, then it's a reduction of 1.2 million in annual revenue, which is equivalent of a 2% water rate increase on all other KUB water customers. So, what we discussed with the audit committee back in October was adjusting our wholesale rate, basically reducing it to a level that is comparable with what is charged by Jefferson City. And if we were going to even consider that, we wanted to get something in return from the utilities. So we did have conversations with both Dandridge and Shady Grove's general management, and they said it seemed they would be willing to sign a letter of commitment, a written commitment, that in the case of Dandridge, they would return to the levels that they had been purchasing from us before they reduced or go higher, and Shady Grove would remain at their current levels or go higher. They both agreed to do that. They have discussed it with their boards, and we've actually received in hand the written commitments for that. So we think that is a prudent decision on behalf of KUB. The financial impact is about $280,000 positive, in that we're getting the $450,000 back that we would have lost. Now there is a revenue reduction from reducing the rate from $1.70 to $1.48 to the equivalent rate charged by Jefferson City. That's about $170,000. You net the two together, it's a positive impact of $280,000 per year. Another way you could look at that, though, is if you didn't do anything and Shady Grove went, you could say, well, maybe the positive impact's really about $1 million per year, because you've essentially precluded them from taking that step. So it's not often that we come before the board and propose a rate reduction, but in this case, I think it is in the best interest of our water system and certainly in the best interest of our water customers. If we did nothing and Shady Grove also followed suit, future water rate increases would have to be higher than what we are currently planning them to be. Yes, ma'am.
Mark, are these rates what we, they publish, if you want to buy water from us, it's now going to be $1.48, or is it case-by-case
No.
basis? Based on the market?
It would be for anyone who would be applicable under that schedule.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's not case by case. It's not a contract rate. It's a tariff rate that the board approves. Any other questions? So Resolution 1428 does lower the rate from $1.70 to $1.48. Since it is a rate change, it does require 2 readings. First reading is today. If approved, we'll bring second reading back to the board for your consideration at the January 2021 meeting. And be happy to answer any other questions you might have. We appreciate your attention to this. We really do believe it's in the best interest of all our water system customers to take this action.
Mark, real quick, does this $1.48 rate, does that make us attractive to any other prospects for wholesale water?
Probably not. It's just, in this case, we have these 2 utilities on that
unique.
portion of our system. It's really unique. They have no other means of water supply other than Jefferson City, of course, so they, diversification. They really like the quality of KUB's water, really prefer that. The other options that we have are the other utility districts like First and West Knox and Hallsdale Powell. They all have their own water production facilities.
Yeah.
We do sell to them maybe on once every couple of years, just based upon their system conditions, but it's just like for a day or 2, something like that. So I really don't see any other wholesale opportunities that I'm aware of right now. When Dandridge came about 5 years ago, it was really a very good thing for us. It didn't cost us much since our system ran right past them for them to hook onto us. They had to do some capital cost, but then you start getting the revenues of like $550,000 a year, and the operating costs that we incur as a result of treating that water just aren't that great.
Yeah.
So,
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we need a motion and a second for Resolution 1428 on first reading.
Second.
Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board on this resolution? Seeing none, Mr. Coley, would you please do a roll call vote?
Commissioner Askew. Aye. Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Herbert.
Aye.
Commissioner Pennell.
Aye.
Commissioner Simpson Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Small.
Aye.
Commissioner Worden. Aye. Resolution 1428 is passed on first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Coley. Next on our agenda is Resolution 1429, a resolution extending the period of authorization to December 31st, 2021 for the execution of a natural gas supply contract with Tenergy Corporation and Energy Acquisition Corporation for a term of up to 31 years. Gabe?
Yes, Commissioners, as you recall, last fall, we discussed this in great detail, and you actually approved us going forward with this transaction. And as you know, 2020 has been a challenging year, and COVID hit, and everything has fallen apart in that sense. So we are coming back to you with approval to renew this effort. We think the prospects are much better this next year. I'm asking Mike Boland, Vice President of Utility Advancement, to give you the details of this transaction.
Thank you, Mr. Bowles. As Gabe said, 13 months ago, last November, I was here giving a fairly lengthy presentation on the opportunity we had to enter into a long-term supply contract at a discount. We were March of this year, March of 2020, we were about a week away from finally executing that contract when all the pandemic issues hit and the financial markets really took a nosedive and made the economics of the deal unattractive at the time. As you may recall, in June of this past year, we came back to the board and said, we would like to extend the authority another 6 months, hoping that the financial markets would correct in that time. We could do the same transaction again. But now that time has gone past and we're seeking additional authority. As a reminder, the contract with Tenergy, which is a Tennessee Energy Acquisition Corp., is a long-term contract, and the basis of entering this contract is that Tenergy offers a discount to us in return for entering into a long-term contract. The discount is based upon their issuance of tax-exempt debt to prepay for the natural gas. And the way the economics work, it's the differential between the tax-exempt debt and the taxable debt that achieves a savings, and that differential has been shrunk as a result of the pandemic efforts. It was going to be our first foray into this type of arrangement. We were just wanting to ease into it. We were looking to do a fairly small volume under this transaction, about 10% of our supply. Fairly significant discount, 30 cents. 30 cents on, right now, gas is around $3, so it's 10%. This past summer was down as low as $2, so 15% discount. So very significant discount for entering in the contract, and we really would like to try to proceed once the markets recover. The way the financial markets are, things happen really quick, and if we didn't extend the authority, opportunity may come, and we'd have to wait till we got back into the board meeting mode to get some authority again, and maybe the opportunity to go away. So today we're asking for an extension of our signing authority for this transaction to run through the end of December 2021. So we've prepared Resolution 1429 to accomplish that. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mike, this is really just a resolution to grant authority for you to enter into the contract between now and next December. Anytime it's advantageous to take advantage of it, you have the authority to do that.
Yes, sir. It just extends the authority that y'all had already granted us.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I just would never take that authority away. I already said yes, so I'm not going to.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board on this resolution? Seeing none, Mr. Coley, would you please do a roll call vote?
So moved.
Sorry. I got ahead of myself there. We need a motion and a second for Resolution 1429 on first and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Now, since I've already asked for members of the public and there are none, Mr. Coley, would you please now do a roll call vote?
Yes, Commissioner Askew. Aye. Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Herbert.
Aye.
Commissioner Pennell.
Aye.
Commissioner Simpson Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Small.
Aye.
Commissioner Worden. Aye. Resolution 1429 has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Coley, and thank you for keeping me straight on the meeting. Gabe, it's time for your president's report.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair Hamilton. Commissioners, I am excited and pleased to announce that we have been working and ready to deploy a brand-new customer mobile app that we'll be showing you today. This application is built on the principle of making things easier for our customers to get access to information. And so I've asked Mark Kenner, Director of Information Services and Security, to show this to you as it's coming out this month.
Thanks, Gabe. Good afternoon. I am here to introduce our new customer mobile application. As Gabe said, it's going to come out. We'll talk about the schedule, but it's going to hit the app stores here very, very soon. So 56% of our customers already interact with us online through a mobile device, through their phone, today on our large website. And so that trend continues to increase. To make that experience more positive for those customers in that increasing population, it was time for us to move to mobile applications. So we will have an iOS app and an Android app in those app stores very soon. We want to provide, with those applications, we'll be able to provide a more personal and proactive messaging interaction. We'll be able to streamline some of our processes and make them more clean and efficient and intuitive. We'll be able to take advantage of some of the capabilities of the smartphone devices or mobile devices, like clicking on a number to make a phone call, or the location-based outage reporting, or using the biometrics for authentication to the app. So you can use the Face ID to authenticate. And then if our customers on their settings on their mobile device for how they want to receive notifications, or if they've got the daylight and nighttime or light mode, dark mode configuration set on their device, we respect those settings and the app adheres to those. So we do not have the experience to build the iOS app or the Android app. So we partnered with a firm to help us do that, Willow. It's been a great experience, and they have transferred a lot of knowledge and mentoring of our staff. And we embedded a couple of our staff members on that team to build these two mobile apps. So if you look at the grid on the right-hand side, the bottom row, the rightmost image, that's Zach. Zach's been with us for about 6 years. Zach was our iOS developer on this team. And then on the left-hand column, third one down, that's Caleb. Caleb has been with us maybe almost a year. Both Zach and Caleb were in our student program, and we were fortunate enough to retain them when they got out of school. And then at the very top row, in the middle, that's Ellie. Ellie was our project manager. Ellie manages a lot of our IT projects and does a great job. And this team, this project started after March. And so the planning of the project, kicking it off, the design, the development, the testing, all of the work on this project was done during this COVID-19 era. And none of these people have ever sat in the same room. It was completely remote all across the country, even our own staff. So these individuals never sat together yet pulled off these two applications in this era. So a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes before we look at some of the app screens. The app was built from the ground up with security in mind and adheres to strong security principles. Accessibility, the app was built with accessibility in mind. So the font sizes, the weights, the font type, the different colors in the app, the differentiation between those colors, the image placement and the tags on those images, they all adhere to the ADA, or Americans with Disabilities Act, online screen standards. And then the screen readers, both Apple and Google have screen readers built into their phones. We tested against those readers. We tested against independent readers to make sure that all of the screens there are no issues with those screen readers consuming those screens. In the middle of the graphic is a column of systems. The application interacts in real time with our enterprise applications back here at KUB. So when a customer pays a bill and they press that Pay Now button, in real time we made that entry into our customer information system on their account. When they report an outage, in real time that outage report hits our distribution management system for our system operators to begin to manage that outage for those customers. So the application is secure, it's accessible, it is fast, it's very clean, it's very simple. And and speaking of simple, the website is a wonderful website, but it has a lot of information. On this application, we really boiled it down to those transactions that our customers will do most with us in that online environment. So that's pay their bill, report an outage, enroll in some service, or manage their account. These images are the ones that will show up on the iOS store and on the App Store. So when you go search for an app and you see the images of the different applications, these will be the ones for our app. And I'll walk through a couple of these workflows just so that we can feel how simple, intuitive, it's surprisingly easy. So when a customer first starts the app and they authenticate, remember they can use Face ID, and there's 4 images on this screen. So I'm looking at the left-hand image first. When they authenticate to that app, the left-hand image comes up, and that's the home screen for the app. See, the top of the screen has got a little bit of information about the current bill or the current status of that customer. On the bottom of the screen, right here, there's these 3 buttons that are prevalent throughout the entire app. So every page you go to, unless you're in a workflow, those 3 buttons will be prevalent in the app. And then right above the three buttons is a chart, a usage chart. This particular customer is a gas-only customer. If this customer had multiple services, then there would be chevrons on either side of that chart or arrows pointing either way to indicate you could scroll left or scroll right to see the chart for the other utilities. So let's walk through the process. So this shows up, the customer authenticates, this screen on the left-hand side shows up, and the customer presses pay bill, and they get the second screen, which gives them the payment date, the payment amount, and the payment method. So if that customer has already interacted with us and they have saved their payment method, they simply press pay bill again, and that transaction happened. 2 clicks to pay their bill. The third screen is the confirmation to give that customer the confidence that that transaction went through. When they clear that screen, they come right back to the home screen. So really, it's 2 clicks to pay a bill if you've already paid that bill with KUB before and you have saved your payment method. The payment amount, the payment method, and the payment date. I'm looking at the second screen, the verification screen. If you want to change any of those, you simply click on that value. Another window pops up. You manage that value. And then when you confirm that, you come back to that second screen to finish out the workflow. So again, it's our goal for the app was simple, intuitive, clean, get rid of all the clutter, and just focus on that workflow for that customer. The other process we'll walk through is report an outage. So remember, on the home screen, there's 3 buttons on the bottom, billing, profile, and outages. If the customer clicks outages, this screen on the left will be the one that shows up on their phone. That is the landing page for our outages. And when they come to this page, we already proactively will put, and it's here for this customer, if they have an outage, we proactively put that on the screen, and we give them the estimated restoration time for that outage if we have that information. But if they want to report an outage, they click Report Outage button. The second screen appears, that's the where is the outage screen, the location. They have 3 choices. We default the primary address for that customer. So on that screen, all they have to do is click Next. But if they want to use a different method for the location, they can either search for other addresses that they have that are KUB service addresses, or they can click the middle option, which is use the current location, and we give them a list of addresses right around the proximity of where they're standing at that moment, or they can just do a regular search for any address that's within KUB service territory. But they clear that second screen by just clicking Next. Then they go to the detail screen. We ask them those questions on that screen. That's all that we ask. To get a little bit more information about the outage, they click Submit Outage Report, and then at that moment, in our system operations group, those individuals that are managing the system and working the outages, they get that report right then in real time. So again, it's very simple, it's very clean, it's very to the point, and very, very fast. The final screens that I'll show in the mobile apps, really, the first 2 were like process flows, pay your bill and report an outage. This is more just going to a screen and setting some configurations. So in the middle of that home page, here are 3 hyperlinks. This last one, Bill and Payments Programs, brings you to our programs. And so we have 3 different kinds of programs, payment, billing, and giving. So when it comes to the programs, the second screen, you can see the payment tab is highlighted. Any program we have that is related to payments will show up right there. In this case, it's AutoPay. If you click the middle tab, billing, you can see levelized billing is there, paperless billing is there. Any other billing program that we may introduce will show up under that tab. And then the final tab is giving, and on this particular customer, Rounded Up and Project Help appear there. And you can see this customer is enrolled in 3 different programs already. To enroll in paperless billing, for example, where they're not enrolled today, the customer clicks this Learn More and Enroll button, and another dialog screen pops up, and it gives them information about that particular program and an enroll button, and they click that button and they're now enrolled in that program. It's very clean, it's very simple, it's very intuitive, and that's the programs. So, next steps. This month, I've already got the app on my phone. I think a couple of people in here probably have it. We've put it on the App Store, both iOS and Android. It's not released yet, but it's out there, and it's passed Apple and Google's inspection and their process to go ahead and publish on the App Store. So we'll enroll a few of our employees that are customers of KUB, and we'll exercise the app, we'll watch it, we'll look for issues, we'll burn it in, and then in late January, we will start to market it and release the app to our customers. We'll use several channels to be able to communicate the app. We'll use our website, we'll use local media, billboards, Knox News, and that's our mobile application, both for the Android and the iOS market. So if there are any questions, oh dear.
Is there a circumstance under which we wouldn't already know there was an outage when somebody reported it? Okay. But it gives the customer a chance to be actively reporting, but with our advanced meters, we should already know it, shouldn't we? Okay.
That's a great question. We do know it, but when that customer goes to report that outage, we tell them we know it on that screen.
Good.
Great question. Thank you.
Can you put tips on the app? Say, the weather is going to be, minus whatever. You should look at doing X or just a way to connect people to other resources.
Yeah, no, it's another good question. So there is a balance we want to strike between, the full website has this richness of information, and the app is very transactional based. Okay. But putting very helpful content like that, as long as we can strike that balance, yeah, I think we're not done with the app. We've already started the next releases of the app, and so things like that, little bubbles of help, or one of the things that's maybe beyond the current body of work we're in today is like a storm takeover page. So when we are in a major event, maybe the app looks a little different.
Yeah.
And so we've got several things lined up for the future. It's the balance that we're going to pay very close attention to keep it very intuitive, very clean, and kind of to the point.
It looks great.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
Absolutely. Mark, those were the good questions. I have several questions. I think they will all be pretty simple. You answered a few of those. If I currently have the app or the KUB app, I would need to delete that and then reinstall this, or would it automatically update?
Oh, no, good question. And that's part of the
Yes,
what we'll.
I was trying to get a good question from you.
I'll probably say good question to every question anyway. No, so that is a good question. So the app that's on your phone is really a link to a website.
Right.
It may look like an app on your phone, and our website is responsive design, is built on responsive design principles, which means it scales from a full screen down to a tablet, down to a phone, and it makes it look like it's native on that phone, although it's really not. So it is a completely different experience than the app in the app stores. So you don't have to delete it. I would recommend deleting it, but you don't have to. It's completely separate. You'll use your same user ID and password. They'll work with both, but it's a completely native application that a customer would download from the store.
Yeah, I think we might need to just kind of communicate that out so that folks will think, well, I already have the app, and,
Right.
and then we'll start thinking it's broken.
Yeah, that
I
transition,
don't see that.
the transition from where we are today to using the app, although it's most of our customer base, when they interact with us online, they're doing exactly what you're doing. That's going to be a thing we have to make clear.
When we go to the app, will we do a push to go to ask customers to think about going paperless? Or will we also still do the paper app? Because I think I do all my bills online, and the only one that I still get in paper is KUB, because they don't have a real app. But I think
Right.
now that having a real app, I may just go ahead and do that paperless
Yeah.
too, and just get them all electronically.
I mentioned that we're already working on new features for the two applications. One of those features is called a message center, where we send proactive messages to that customer. And then you recall the way that customer wants to interact with those messages, they set that up in their phone, natively in their phone. But we'll have a message center in the app so that they may get the message on their home screen, or it may ring a bell, however they have it configured, but it definitely goes into that message center and becomes available for that customer to consume. So to that point, yes, we'll use that message center not only for proactive utility-based messaging, but also potentially for marketing messaging as well.
And my last question is, as you look at the demographics of our communities, will there be an option to access this in Spanish, at least, in terms of making sure that people will have access to?
Yeah, no, and that accessibility is something we really cared about. So within the native ecosystems of Google and of Apple, you can change those phones to be different languages, and our app, I'm going to say this, I will have to confirm it, but I think our app adheres to that and will respect those settings. But let me hold that one and get it confirmed.
Okay.
That's a great question. Thank you.
Is the app going to tell you when your service is going to come back on? Because that's one of the things that I'm most interested in.
Yeah, that's a deeper question than just the app. So let me speak to that just for a second. The app will show you when we have estimated your service to come back on. We do that calculation today when there is an outage. We do it automatically through an algorithm in the system, and then when our crews get on site, they can update that estimated restoration time when they're there on the job, and they have more granular information. They know better than the algorithm when they're going to be finished with that work. So that's that. In the event of a larger storm, I think Matthew Stinnett was here 2 or 3 times ago. We deployed a brand new distribution management system where we manage utility network. We actually, in big storms, we have to turn off our estimated restoration times because the algorithm breaks down. We don't turn it off anymore with the advanced distribution management system. It runs all the time. Now, we don't show that to customers because we want to have confidence in it first, but we are working towards being able to push those messages to customers about when their estimated restoration time is going to be, and we're working towards making ourselves better at doing that. And the message center that I just referenced a bit earlier, so when you go to the outage center, we proactively tell you, or not, the outage page, the map, we proactively tell you when we estimate your service will be back on if you're out. We also, in this next phase of the app, are going to push that notification to you. We're going to push to you when you're out. We're going to push to you when we think we're going to start working on it. Sorry. I'll move over here. We'll push to you that if we have to change that restoration time, we'll push that notice to you, and then we'll also push a notice to you when we have it restored. So we'll have multiple messages during that outage event to keep the customer informed. That comes in, that's probably in the March timeframe of next year, but that's coming.
Right.
That's very important to us. We're working multiple systems at the same time to be able to better communicate that through the app to our customers. Thank you.
Got one comment on the second part of your title. This has been information services. I appreciate that. I just wanted to take a moment to say, from time to time, Gabe and the team inform us of how often people try to hack us, and what a monstrous job it is to keep our systems up and safe, and we don't often get to meet with you, and so I hope you'll pass on to your team how much we appreciate it. All of us who are customers too, and we all appreciate what y'all do to protect us, and I hope you can pass that on to your team.
I absolutely will. One of the things about cybersecurity, if you're familiar with the movie Fight Club, there's one rule of Fight Club: you never talk about Fight Club. And that's the same rule about cybersecurity: you never talk about it. But I will pass it on. The team works; they're 24/7. And it is the one area we just can't tolerate a mistake. and they work hard at that, and they do a great job. So thank you very much for recognizing that.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
It's
you.
really incredible that you all have been able to do this in a year like this when I can only imagine the challenges that you've had with all the adaptations you've had to make with so many people having to work off-site. So thank you. It looks great.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll pass that on. I'm sure a few of them are watching. Hopefully, they're not. I didn't mess up too bad.
You know, Gabe, at some point, we're going to talk about when we're a cable provider, that we can stream our movies through the KUB app. Is that going to happen?
That's a vision I have. I
Okay.
appreciate that.
We can start working on that now, Mark.
That's right. He knows.
We'll see.
The big screen, yeah.
Watch Mark's presentations on time. Anytime.
I paused as long as I could. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Today, I'm also pleased to announce that this is our annual Employee Excellence Awards. We do this every December, and I'm so excited to introduce Deanna Unger, our Manager of Human Resources, to present the awards.
That's a tough act to follow. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. But I think what he just presented is a great example of employee excellence, and maybe we'll be hearing about that mobile app next year when we're doing these awards. All right. As Gabe mentioned, I am very happy to announce our 2020 Employee Excellence Award winners. You all may recall this is a process that we started about 7 years ago. It was a suggestion by our former board chair, Bruce Anderson, who said, wouldn't this be a great way to recognize our employees for their hard work, their commitment? And we see that every day, so it's hard to narrow it down to the awards that we share with you. But every day our employees are going above and beyond. And this year definitely was an unprecedented year, and we had an awesome ability to witness that throughout the pandemic, which we'll talk about later. We had over 20 nominations this year, so this year especially, signs of contribution across the company were evident. And unfortunately, those people who are receiving these awards cannot be here today based on social distancing, but our communications team has done an awesome job of creating videos to share their stories. So I'm here more as a Vanna White and setting the stage to hear from the people that did all the hard work for these Employee Excellence Awards. You also have in your packet this handout, and it gives a lot more detail about each of these projects that we'll talk about. And with that, our first award is for the Raccoon Valley Natural Gas Expansion. So this construction project was very complex. We'll hear about some of the unique challenges in the video. But what it accomplished was expanding our service territory. And we did find that this would serve more residential customers and then allow for commercial growth in the future. It required a lot of departments to collaborate and create efficiencies. And then we also found by using our underground construction department in-house, we were able to achieve budget savings. Let's hear more about this project.
The Raccoon Valley project was purely an expansion and a growth project for the KUB natural gas system. We extended our gas 7 miles into Raccoon Valley. Primarily the gas extension was HDPE, high-density polyethylene. Normally a project like this takes about a year or more to get from a concept to bidding. So we had about 4 months. So we had to efficiently work through design, quickly review things, make sure we weren't missing things, as well as taking easements into consideration. Normally those take a while. So we worked real closely with procurement to let them know when easements were coming, sent them in smaller packages so that they can work on them while we were still developing our design.
The biggest challenges underground construction faced was the time constraint as to what we had, and then just the terrain of the area. It was rock, and we had quite a bit of vegetation management that had to take place.
We had to work with some local developers to find hopefully a ready use for the gas once we got out there. So we knew of a subdivision that was going in. They had not shown interest in gas on the front end, but with the knowledge that GSE was getting gas out there, we approached that developer to say, hey, you know, we've got this project coming. What can we do to work with you to use gas in these homes? And we even had to get the gas line hot before the main got there, so we worked with underground construction to be able to power that or supply that subdivision off of trailers in the meantime.
This will give some of the customers up there that they're going to be new to natural gas up there. They've had our electric, but never natural gas. Now they have two of our utilities. And it'll give some of the industrial customers chances to change over from some of their diesel they used to make asphalt with to cleaner natural gas, and give the area possibility to expand quicker than if they didn't have natural gas available.
Here are the employees and the departments we want to recognize for this award and their hard work surrounding the Raccoon Valley project. The next award we want to give today is surrounding our sustainability initiatives. And I know in prior board meetings, you all have heard a lot about these programs. It's something we're really proud, and the employees involved especially, we want to recognize today. And these programs not only live up our blueprint commitment to being environmentally responsible, but they are also new and innovative ways to serve our customers and help them. So the toilet replacement program, community solar, EV charger rebate, the TVA Smart Thermostat, and Green Switch Match pilot programs. All of these things really live up to that commitment to our community and sustainability. Let's hear more about these projects.
Last year in FY20, KUB developed two strategic initiative teams, the Energy Efficiency Strategic Initiative Team and the Utility Transformation Team. And those looked at developing programs to help with energy efficiency, low-income assistance, and sustainability programs for KUB.
When we started looking at programs at KUB that could help low-income customers in our service territories, what we found was that KUB is actually already doing a lot for our low-income customers. So it wasn't as simple as just saying, oh, there's a gap we need to fill. So we spent a lot of time researching what other utilities were doing across the country, and then we worked with a consultant to come up with a solution that we thought would help our low-income customers.
The energy efficiency team developed the toilet replacement program, and what that program aims to do is replace toilets and other energy efficiency items in a customer home to help with their water bills and energy bills. Programs like that make a huge difference to customers who may be struggling to afford their bills by reducing that monthly cost for them.
We got creative and used design thinking actually to sort of look at the problem first and then backtrack to what the customer needs, and then within that find a solution.
The Utility Transformation Team focused more on some of our recent renewable programs and EV programs. Those things are starting to become KUB's responsibility to uphold our community's expectations in supporting emissions goals and renewable goals. And so those are some things that we're really happy to be able to offer our customers, and we think that the community will really appreciate the contributions we've made there.
All these programs require one, strong leadership and a philosophy that is adopted by KUB as an organization. You have to really care about the issues that these programs are trying to address in order to successfully implement them. We really relied on, it started with leadership, but buy-in throughout the organization.
These programs take a lot of different work groups, new service and communications and customer experience. It's really a team effort to make these work and make these successful. And so I was super impressed with just the level of commitment from across the organization, which is crucial to keeping these programs moving forward.
Here are the employees that were most closely involved with the sustainability efforts this past year, who we want to recognize. All right, the next award, I'm sure all of you are very familiar with, and we've been talking about this for over 4 years, but the Meter Modernization Project. And as you are well aware, this $82 million project to upgrade all, I wish it was $82. $82 million project to upgrade all of our KUB meters. And this project was ahead of schedule, also came in under budget, and not only the cost savings experienced with the project management, but cost savings, efficiencies will be seen for years to come because of this initiative. Let's hear from those most directly involved in making this successful.
The main scope of this project was to install or upgrade 400,000 meters throughout the system. But another large component of the project was to integrate the technology from these meters into the rest of KUB, including all its business processes and technology support.
I think we almost worked with every department at KUB, and the interaction was to meet that goal at the end of the day to make this project successful. The pace built as we went, so we only did about 12% of KUB's meters in the first year. Our max pace, we were putting in 2,500 to 3,000 meters a week, which was daunting to begin with when we thought about those years coming. When we actually got there, because of our team and because of the support we had from senior management all the way down, other departments, it was nothing. It was easier than the beginning.
We get hourly data from these meters. We do provide that data to them through the customer portal, and we hope that they will be able to use that to make better decisions about their usage and to have more control over their bill at the end of the month.
You know, we did finish early. We finished about 6 weeks early, and we finished over $5 million under budget. I'm biased, but I think it was the best team that KUB's ever had.
So it was truly a full company experience and full company teamwork. The support we felt while being on that project was tremendous and very encouraging as we were trying every day to make this change at KUB.
As you heard in the video, this project required support all across KUB, but we do want to recognize these 6 individuals for their leadership and project management that made it so successful. The final project to talk about today isn't really a project, it's a lifestyle right now at KUB. But the board chair award this year is going to every single KUB employee for their role in KUB's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic has taught us all how to work in new ways, and we're going to hear about that in this video.
Earlier this year, when it became inevitable that COVID-19 would reach East Tennessee, KUB began preparing to mitigate the impacts COVID-19 would have on our customers, our community, and our employees. In February, KUB enacted its Incident Command Structure, ICS, with a team of 10 experienced leaders representing key groups to help reduce the impacts of COVID-19. While ICS has been historically deployed for storm and other similar events, this team took on a new direction and worked directly with departments across the organization to implement policies and procedures that became crucial to the continued operation of the organization. One of the most impactful decisions made early on was to ask nearly 400 KUB employees to work from home. Never, in our more than 80-year history, have we done this, and a coordinated effort from all KUB departments was required. Information Services began working immediately to ensure that KUB employees had the technical resources required to do their jobs. They worked with our procurement team to obtain new equipment and reconfigured IT resources to ensure people at home could function as if they were in their offices. Safety and Regulatory Services, storerooms, and procurement employees identified sanitation materials needed to keep employees and customers safe while tracking the spread of the virus locally and nationally. Keeping our employees safe and able to provide our community with vital resources was our top priority. Our Human Resources team took that to heart and provided guidance on policy, and when the virus arrived at KUB, they performed contact tracing to keep others safe. They also coordinated with properties and transportation to ensure proper cleaning and sanitation measures were taken in areas the virus had impacted. Once we had a solid plan in place for our workforce, our customer experience team worked to suspend disconnections for non-payment to ensure those most in need were able to access vital resources. They continued to answer calls from concerned customers and assured them that KUB was committed to continuing services. Customer service centers reopened to help those who needed in-person assistance, and payment arrangements were established to help those with past due balances. Throughout 2020, they also worked with partner agencies to secure nearly $13 million in funds for utility bill payment assistance, funds that were used directly for those in need. All these changes needed to be communicated to our employees in real time, and our communications team customized KUB's internal website to serve as a technical information hub for employees, highlighting departmental changes, technical instruction, and other relevant employee resources. They also sent out weekly text messages and emails to all employees and updated message boards when important updates were available. They also kept customers informed about our efforts to continue providing services by consistently updating social media, the customer website, and working proactively with local media. Throughout all of this, essential staff in operations, meters, labs, and construction continue to operate the utility systems, install new services, respond to trouble, collect and analyze thousands of water quality samples, make repairs, perform system maintenance, and continue with necessary upgrades to the infrastructure that supplies them. Plant operators spread out and continue to treat water vital to homes, businesses, and hospitals throughout our systems, while new service continued to work with new customers to ensure they had access to our services during a significant growth period in Knox County. Additionally, KUB staff implemented a major enterprise IT system for outage management without missing a beat, outsourced the payment processing function, and began implementation of a new billing system. KUB is made up of more than 1,000 employees, and every one of them was forced to make changes to serve our community in times we were needed the most. While some of our success today can be attributed to processes and planning, most is accomplished through the willpower, the flexibility, and the commitment of our employees to serve our community and allow it to thrive during unprecedented times.
In addition to the Employee Excellence Awards, I did want to mention our communications team received 2 awards from APPA, and one of them being in relation to those examples of communication efforts throughout the pandemic. Just another example, a testament to employees going above and beyond no matter what the circumstances are. And to recognize every single one of our employees, we are going to give them a t-shirt as well as a facial covering, and as a way to recognize their efforts in the pandemic response. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Chair Hamilton for her remarks.
Thank you. It really has been a challenging year, I think, for all of us, some of us more than others. If you'd gone back into February, none of us could have imagined what was going to be coming over the next few months. And it's good to say that I think we're beginning to see a light at the end of the tunnel, but we're not there yet. We've still got several challenging months ahead, and so it is really a pleasure to be able to end our last meeting of the year and to have something like this to celebrate. I just want to say that over the years that I've been on this board, and more years than that I've been a customer of KUB, I've had opportunity to see the excellence that all of our employees exhibit every single day, and it really makes us all proud. It was really reinforced here recently during the tours that some of us were able to take. It's amazing the engineering that's been done way back as early as when our water plant was sited and built. The construction that happens every day. It's amazing how much we accomplish, even more amazing what we've been able to accomplish in a year like this. The operations work that it takes to operate and maintain 4 utilities is an incredible feat for this organization in any year, but especially in a year like the one that we've seen. And we've been able to continue to provide the services that our customers depend on. They know that KUB is an agency that they can depend on to provide them things that they need in their life every day. And I think that we've also exhibited a willingness of our employees to go out and volunteer and do community outreach. It's a shame that that's been cut back in the way that it has been this year, but we've got employees every day that are willing to go out and do what they can to help those in their community. and our customer support programs that we have. We've talked a lot about those this year. We've seen those in action, and they are just outstanding and something that all of us here on the board are really proud of. So it's always difficult. It was difficult last year to determine what the chair award should go to, and it's really unique that this is an award that's going to every single person in KUB, but it's been that kind of a year. And it has amazed me how this organization has reacted so quickly and so efficiently to continue those services, not missing a beat, to continue on with the projects. It's amazing the number of projects that we've been able to complete and accomplish this year, and to keep our employees safe while we're doing it. So I just want to say it's really been an honor to serve as chair this year and to see the amazing things that everyone at KUB has accomplished. And not just me, but I know I speak on behalf of everybody on the board to say thank you for doing what you've done, and this is an honor that is truly deserved. I also want to say on behalf of the board a congratulations to all the other teams who have been recognized. I really am sorry that you aren't able to be with us today. Just know that we are really proud of you, and each and every one of us are proud to be able to serve on this board and have excellent employees like you to go out and represent us. So thank you.
I'm going to echo Chair Hamlin's remarks. I have the pleasure of working with these thousands of people every day, and they do go above and beyond the call all the time to serve our customers. I always tell my staff, and I tell employees all the time, I get letters constantly, and people think they're bad letters. Most of them are praise letters, emails, thanking our folks for doing things above and beyond. I hear the phrase, I wish everybody was like KUB that I dealt with. And so that just speaks volumes to what our folks have done, especially this year with the COVID. And it's not just me that praises on them. Others have given us recognition. And this chart on the wall right here on the screen is just the awards we received in 2020. Now that would be a great year on a normal year. But we received all these awards during a pandemic year, recognized by many industries in the country, saying that you are the best of breed, you are the best folks doing the things you're doing. And so I couldn't help but want to show that to you as a board, the things that we've accomplished this last year. There are a lot of new awards we've never gotten before, and a lot of things we are recognized for. Our folks make this happen. They do it every day, and they do it with commitment that's unparalleled. So I want to say thank you to all our employees, all 1,050 of them. They make this place work so easily, and I appreciate their efforts and all the flexibility and change that we've made. They've embraced it with open arms and smiles on their faces. So thank you very much, and I want to conclude my remarks with that. So thank you.
Next on our agenda is Resolution 1430, a resolution of the Knoxville Utility Board honoring Sarah Hedstrom-Pinnell, who is concluding service as a commissioner. I'd like to recognize Gabe for his remarks.
Actually, my remarks I want to do after Bill Coley does his resolution, so I appreciate that.
Then, Mr. Coley, you are recognized to read the resolution.
Yep. It's my pleasure, Commissioner Hamilton, to present Resolution 1430, a resolution of the Knoxville Utilities Board honoring Sarah Hedstrom-Pinnell, who is concluding service as a commissioner. Whereas Sarah Hedstrom-Pinnell became a member of this board in January 2014 and has now faithfully served for 7 years. And whereas before Commissioner Pinnell served on KUB's Board of Commissioners, she volunteered to serve on KUB's 2010 Tree Trim Policy Review Panel, which worked for nearly a year to provide over 150 action items to improve KUB's vegetation management program for the benefit of KUB customers. And whereas Commissioner Pennell's expertise in and passion for environmental sustainability is evidenced by her profession in landscape architecture and service to organizations including City of Knoxville Tree Board, the Great Smoky Mountains Conservation Association, and the Urban Land Institute, and has been a tremendous asset to the board. And whereas during her tenure on the board, Commissioner Pennell's commitment to sustainability has been reflected in board actions such as first of its kind purchase of 502 megawatts of solar energy on behalf of KUB's customers through the TVA Green Invest program, and KUB's achievement of sustainability awards, including the Governor's Environmental Stewardship Award, the Tennessee Solar Industries Association 2020 Solar Champion, the American Public Power Association Smart Energy Provider designation, and annual TVA Energy Right Awards for strong customer participation. And whereas Commissioner Pennell has served as an advocate for customers in need and has demonstrated significant leadership in board actions and support for programs to provide assistance to KUB's low-income customers, including implementation of the Rounded Up, Knoxville Extreme Energy Makeover, and home uplift programs resulting in the weatherization of nearly 1,800 homes during her tenure, and actions to provide bill payment relief and deferral of rate increases during the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas Commissioner Pennell's personal experience and success as an entrepreneur and small business owner has been recognized with honors including U.S. Chamber of Commerce Small Business Blue Ribbon Award, the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce Young Entrepreneurial Pinnacle Award, and the Blount County Chamber of Commerce Women-Owned Business Excellence Award, and has helped to ensure representation for women and minority-owned businesses and KUB's small business customers. And whereas throughout her service on KUB's board, Commissioner Pennell has demonstrated leadership in the support of long-term funding plans for KUB's Century 2 Infrastructure Management Program to ensure safe and reliable services and balance the cost of needed system improvements between current and future KUB customers. And whereas Commissioner Pennell has further distinguished herself and KUB through her involvement with the City of Knoxville Public Arts Committee, Leadership Knoxville, and the Executive Women's Association. And now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Knoxville Utilities Board, Section 1, that this board hereby gratefully acknowledges and commends Sarah Hedstrom Pennell for her dedicated service to KUB, its employees, customers in our community. Section 2, that the board recognizes Commissioner Pennell's meaningful and effective service and genuinely regrets her time on the KUB Board of Commissioners has concluded. And Section 3, that this resolution take effect from and after its passage, and that a copy shall be provided to Commissioner Pennell. Signed this 17th day of December 2020 by Kathy Hamilton, Chair, Jerry Askew, Tybee Small, Adrian Simpson Brown, Vice Chair, Celeste Herbert, and John Warden. Congratulations.
And before I turn it back to Gabe for comments, I just want to say it has been a personal privilege to be able to work with you, Sarah. I've really enjoyed getting to know you better. I appreciate the questions that you bring to the meeting, and I appreciate your dedication to the community and to this board. So, Gabe?
Yeah, I will echo those comments, and the resolution says it best. It's hard to believe, but we met you first 10 years ago at a tree trim policy board meeting, and you helped us with that a lot, and then later on became a board member of ours. I get to speak on behalf of the entire KB organization for both of me and the employees that we really appreciate your service. We're going to miss seeing you. Don't be a stranger, as I always say. Keep in touch. But thank you for all you've done. You've been a great mentor to me personally. You've asked the good questions, as Kathy said, in our board meetings. I really appreciate all you've done for us and look forward to seeing you as a customer going forward, but not necessarily in this room. So I appreciate you very much, and thank you for all you've done for us.
Well, I'd just like to say, I think I'm going to miss this place, all of you, and all of the excellence that I see. And I think that as a business owner, it can be a little bit lonely at the top. And I would say that these meetings I have gained so much as just how to lead and how to respectfully disagree, how to talk to people, how to recognize people. So I have just so much, I'm bursting with gratitude right now, and I'm just so appreciative of all of you. And I know that, there's a level of comfort too that, you will keep on being excellent and you'll grow all these other people that will come beyond you, and it will just keep on going. There's such strength here, so it's just wonderful. I'm so humbled to be a part of it for these last 7 years. Wow, they go by fast. So thank you to all of you and to the rest of the board here. It's been a pleasure. It really has. And I hate these masks because I've been smiling the whole time.
I agree.
You can't tell. All right, we need a motion and a second for Resolution 1430 on first and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board on this resolution? Seeing none, Mr. Coley, would you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Commissioner Askew.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Aye.
Commissioner Herbert.
Aye.
Commissioner Simpson-Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Small.
With gratitude, aye.
Commissioner Worden. Aye. Resolution 1430 has passed unanimously.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to recognize Commissioner Herbert for the nominating committee announcements.
Well, good afternoon. I think we've had a great board meeting today, and I want to thank Sarah for her service. One of the things that we have to do as nominating committee members is choose potential successors, and your shoes were very hard to fill, Sarah. Our nominating process for the new commissioner appointment has concluded. We sent the names to the mayor, and the mayor has appointed or recommended Claudia Caballero, and I'm sure that I don't have those beautiful rolling R's that my Latino friends have, for city council approval, and Claudia has been approved by the city council. She will be joining us in January. We congratulate her on her appointment and look forward to serving with her. In January, the board elects officers as required by the charter. The nominating committee met earlier today and voted to nominate the following slate of officers for 2021. The nominating committee has nominated Jerry Askew for chair, John Worden for vice chair, and Mark Walker, who gets the plum job as secretary. This election will be conducted in January 2021 as required by the charter.
Thank you, Commissioner Herbert. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the board today? All right, seeing none, following the adjournment of this meeting, the board will have a lunch session that is open for the public to observe. This meeting is now adjourned.